Thank you. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting for March 25th, 2024. First off, we have a subdivision authority meeting, so I will call that meeting to order and ask for an adoption of the agenda as presented, please. Councilor McLean,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right. Councilor Sorensen, how are you? All right, on to item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Mr. Thibault,
Minutes are in front of council for your consideration.
for the February 26th, 2024 subdivision authority minutes. Any questions, changes? All right, so I'm prepared to make that required motion. Councilor Firth,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Subdivision Authority adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of Subdivision Authority held on February 26th, 2024 as presented.
all right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item number 4, subdivision application item 4.1 TT 24-0-003. Mr. Thibault.
So this is coming to council from the MPC recommended, and we'll have Selena Newberry and Chris Segan come forward and speak to this one. This is over by Sunrise Crescent, just to give council kind of the geographical location.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. So we've received an application to subdivide 2 lots that are on the south side of town. There would be a total of 15 lots altogether. 3 would be for multifamily residential and 12 would be for single family, semi-detached, that sort of residential. Our MDP, our municipal development plan, does encourage increased density for our residential developments where we can.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Nothing extraordinary, Selena, out of this application?
Nothing extraordinary. It will require a couple of land use amendments, and we're going to see those a little later today.
All right, very well, thank you. Any other questions? All right, someone prepared to make the required motion. Councilor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make the motion that the subdivision authority approve subdivision TT 24-0-003, Lot 5, Block 1, Plan 911-1354, and Lot 23, Block 1, Plan 041118, Northeast Quarters, Section 32, Township 9, Range 16, west of the Forest Meridian, specifically described as 4302 50th Street and 5613 42nd Avenue, with the following conditions.
Conditions 1 through
15.
1 through 15. All right, very well. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Just ask for a motion to close the meeting, please. Councilor McLean, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. I will call the regular scheduled Taber Town Council meeting in order and ask for the adoption of the agenda as presented also, please. Councilor Firth.
I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 3, public hearings. There are none. Item 4, adoption of minutes. Item 4.1, minutes regular meeting of council, March 11th, 2024. Mr. Thibault.
Again, the minutes are in front of council. No additions or deletions that administration is aware of for your consideration.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? So I'm prepared to make that required motion. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on March 11th, 2024 as presented.
Take a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Business arising, there are none. Bylaws, item 6.1, proposed bylaw 2-2024, long-term borrowing. Mr. Thibault.
We'll have Mr. Orwell come up, and administration is looking for second and third readings of this bylaw. Council already did first reading a little
Thank
while
you,
back.
Mr. Roy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. That is exactly what we have here, proposed bylaw 2-24, long-term borrowing. So it went through the first reading last time. It's been advertised 2 weeks to follow the MGA. And then it has also passed the 14-day cooling period and there's been no appeal. So your administration is requesting council go through the second and third reading so that we can be set for borrowing.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councilor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council gives second reading to long-term borrowing at 41st Street Avenue, 51st Street, and 53rd Street, cast iron and sanitary replacement project 2-24.
Right.
And do you want this? Oh, it's third. Carry on.
I think we're good. Yeah, all right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. Someone prepared to make the next required motion. Councilor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make a motion that council gives third and final reading to long-term borrowing dash 41st Avenue, 51st Street, and 53rd Street, cast iron and sanitary replacement project bylaw 2-2024.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. On to item 6.2, first reading bylaw amendment 5-2024. Mr. Tebow.
So as it mentions, looking for just first reading on this particular bylaw, and this is pertaining to what we just had talked about in the subdivision authority. So there's two parcels, so there's this one and there'll be one immediately after this. Selena and Chris are here for any questions, if there was any.
All right, thank you. Any questions whatsoever? All right, Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm prepared to make a motion that council gives first reading to bylaw 5-2024 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
All right, thank you. Councilor Remford? Okay, Councilor Firth also? Okay, thank you. All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously, thank you. On to item 6.3, first reading bylaw amendment 6-2024, Mr. Tebow.
Again, just first reading, and this is also pertaining to the subdivision authority. There was two separate parcels, so one that required something different than the other. This is the second one there, and Chris and Selena are available for any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? None whatsoever. Councilor Remford?
Just prepared to make the motion, Mr. Mayor. Thank
Very
you.
well.
I'll
Yeah.
make a motion that council gives first reading to bylaw 6-2024 to amend land use bylaw 13-2020.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Action items, item number 7.1, 2024 assessment discussion. Mr. Tebow.
Okay, we're going to have Mr. Orwa come up, and there's a guest with us that we typically bring each year. So Lance Wayloggy from Benchmark, and they'll come up and provide some context around the assessments.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much
again, Mr. Roy.
Mayor. I think we are starting our usual and the most interesting discussion of the year. And this is the assessment. So this time we'll be breaking it into two. Today we'll be running through the assessment, and then we'll build up into the mill rates in the next session. So I have here Mr. Wayloggy. We are very lucky that he's been assessing us for a long time, and he's also assessing other municipalities, the same size and different sizes, around southern Alberta. So he has a lot of information, and he's going to walk us through year-over-year changes, the assessment growth, and maybe tell us exactly what's happening in Colgate there, because it seems to be a very hot market. I think to get us started, Mr. Tebow, to just go to the presentation. Do you want to use this, or you can come to? Oh, sure.
Hope it's okay if I stand.
That's all right.
Do I scroll with this guy here? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon.
The purpose for me to come here today is just to inform council of the year-over-year changes to the assessment roll. So if you've seen me here before, the presentation looks very similar year over year, and it's going to be focused mostly on two areas: the year-over-year change with respect to market change, as well as assessment growth. I do have some municipal comparisons towards the end of the presentation, but the majority of the speaking points will be on those two items. So for this upcoming tax year, the 2024 tax year, just a healthy reminder, 2024 tax year is the same as the 2023 assessment years. The assessment year in terms of the assessor is always the year prior to the year that the tax is imposed. So the two are interchangeable, but I can understand that sometimes there is a bit of confusion. So sometimes I'll reference 2023 assessment year, which is the same as 2024 tax year. As mentioned, the overview going to be focusing on the market change, the assessment growth, and some municipal comparisons with other Southern Alberta municipalities, specifically with single-family dwellings, so not including any condominiums, retail, office, and industrial assessments. So just as a quick reminder, so the assessment process in Alberta, every municipality in Alberta prepares assessments on an annual basis. For the 2024 tax year, it's based on the market value of property July 1st, 2023, and it's based on the condition of the property as of December 31st, 2023. So for example, if somebody builds a garage after the valuation date of July 1st, but before the physical condition date, the assessor assesses the garage, but he's valuing it as of July 1st, 2023. Okay, so moving on to assessment market change. When I reference assessment market change, it's just the difference in market value from the previous assessment valuation date, which is July 1st, 2022, to the current, which is July 1st, 2023. So the difference in market value from exactly 1 year. So what you'll see here is a graph for residential properties and how you read the graph. On the left-hand side is the number of residential accounts. On the bottom, you'll see six charts, 6 bar graphs. These are percent change ranges. So if you focus into the middle of the graph, what this is essentially saying is there's 1,486 properties that are ranging in year-over-year change from 4% to 6%. If we move to the right, 1,290 properties experiencing a year-over-year change from 6 to 8. Is that me? And so the two bar graphs in the middle, you'll see that overall, the majority of residential accounts in the town of Taber are going to be experiencing year-over-year assessment changes. Now, these are properties that had no difference in physical changes or any updates. It's basically on the same details of the previous year. They're going to be experiencing year-over-year assessment changes between 4 to 8%. Overall, the residential assessment base is up 5.9%. You'll see that there is a number of properties that are greater than 12%. They're actually isolated to one condominium complex just northeast here, a block away off of 50th Avenue and 51st Street. Vacant land is occupying the majority of properties on the left-hand side of the graph. Vacant land did not increase in value as much as an improved property. It was basically year over year about the same, and that occupies the number of properties that are going up less than 2%, right there. But overall, the takeaway here is residential properties overall in that 5.9% range. Moving on to the non-residential properties, very similar-ish results. You'll see here that the majority of non-residential properties, 220, are going to be experiencing a year-over-year change, 6 to 8%. Overall, the non-residential is up 7.9%. It's being dragged up a little bit. You'll see here there's a number of properties that are going up greater than 12%. These are vacant industrial land. So year over year, vacant industrial land is going to be increasing significantly from the previous year. We did have some strong sales in this last analysis period, indicating that the values obviously need to be increased. So year over year, significant change on the vacant industrial land. So for non-residential, 7.9% is the takeaway there. If we compare this to the last 2 tax years, you'll see on the residential side, back in 2022, Residential properties increased 3.1%, then 4.7, and now 5.9. So year over year, you're seeing pretty strong market value changes within the assessment base. On the non-residential side, quite a significant change from 2023. You see 3.2% in 2022, about the same in 2023, but of course now in 2024, year over year, 7.9%. So a big change from last year in the non-residential category. On the assessment growth side of things, so we define assessment growth as anything new to the assessment roll that wasn't previously there. So this could include new construction, additions, new subdivisions. On the residential side, 0.7% of the previous assessment base. It's about $6 million in assessment growth in the residential category. So this is just residential dwelling units that come online. Nothing fancy there. On the non-res side, it was 2.4%. So pretty strong growth on the non-residential side, just under $6 million in assessment growth. We see in new warehouses on 60th Street, as well as addition to a warehouse on 60th Street, addition to another warehouse on 64th. So a lot of growth in the industrial side of things, as well as on the commercial side. We had the completion of the two-story office building just off 50th Avenue, as well as the old credit union bank downtown. There's a restaurant addition and renovation there as well. And then lastly, there was the new Shoppers that's going in just off of Highway 3. They're just currently in the early stages of that. So some of the properties that are feeding into the non-residential assessment growth, key takeaways, very, very strong year over year, 2.4%. How this compares to previous years, on the residential side, you're seeing a bit of a decrease, a little slower year on the residential side, and then the opposite on the non-residential side, where it was 1.5, 1.4, now a pretty significant uptick to 2.4%. So lastly, I'll just finish here with some municipal comparisons, Taber to some of the other surrounding Southern Alberta communities. On the single-family dwelling side, and again, this doesn't include condominiums, in the middle overall in comparison to some of these other communities, kind of sandwiched right between Brooks and Claresholm. You see that in Nanton, Colehurst, Coledale, some of the communities that are close to larger centers, Lethbridge, Calgary, they typically have a higher market value. Pretty meaningful comparison here, as the range of single-family dwellings from municipality to municipality are somewhat similar. You won't get that in the next 3 slides. Retail properties from one municipality to another municipality are quite a bit different, so it's not as meaningful. As you'll see in Colehurst, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 retail properties in Colehurst. So, the gas station, the bar, they tend to pull the medians up. But key takeaway here is Taber's kind of sandwiched in the middle here for retail properties. You'll see the same for offices. But of course, on the industrial side of things, what you'd expect. The industrial properties in the town of Taber are really quite strong, and value-wise would be on the higher end in comparison to these municipalities. With that, I'll open the floor to any questions from council. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your presentation thus far. Any questions arising? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, sir, on the last slide there on the industrial municipal comparison, could you give an example why Coledale is so much higher?
They do have a little bit newer, I would say. Like over the last couple of years, I think that they've had a lot more industrial commitment, and some big industrial commitment, right? The Fortis building across the street. I can't remember off the top of my head, but significantly sized new construction. I think that tends to play into pulling the medium up a little bit. But I would just say it's just the new construction and the fact that there's been a little bit more in that municipality over the last couple of years.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions arising? All right, Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just looking at the assessment growth for Taber, we finally surpassed the $1 billion mark.
Oh, well, yeah, yes, so that was the previous assessment base there. So you were over that mark last year, and actually, this is just the non-regulated assessment. So you do have on your assessment roll, non-linear designated industrial property and linear designated industrial property. So those two items prepared by the provincial assessor would be in addition to these. So that assessment base over $1 billion was actually last year, and then of course now that you have increase in both market change and growth, that's even further past the $1 billion mark. So you probably reached that maybe last year or even the year before.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, seeing none whatsoever. Oh, Councilor McLean, jump
I
in.
have a question. Yeah,
Go
I'll
ahead.
just jump on in. So, curious then, the overall residential increase in market value assessment, is that, how does that just keep going up, even though no changes have been made to people's property? Is that just because the market itself is going up?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct,
Yeah,
yeah.
so just overall throughout all communities, or you look just at this community itself?
So the town of Taber, the assessments for the town of Taber are prepared using the sales within the town of Taber.
Okay.
And in comparison to some of the other communities, 5.9% year-over-year assessment change due to the market is probably on the lower end for residential change. Like if we look at Coaldale or Colehurst, and granted they're a little bit closer to Lethbridge, they would be much higher.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, seeing no further questions, thank you once again for your presentation. Appreciate that very much.
You're welcome. I think there is towards the end of this slide too. We do have for more information just a few sample properties here, just showing the year-over-year change. You'll notice the one non-residential towards the end. That is a vacant industrial lot where it's going up 45%. But for the most part, just a sampling of houses here, you'll see that they are within that sort of 5.9% range. Some vary a little bit, but it's pretty close. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, on to item 7.2, 2022 Canadian Award for Financial Reporting. Mr. Thibault.
We'll get Mr. Orbaugh to come forward with his team members and the mayor to the pulpit, please.
It's mine house. 6.1.
We haven't set the mill rates yet, so that's not necessarily.
Oh, he's nice too.
That's all good.
They should stand.
That's flags.
Sure, sure. I'll just get say to start with congratulations to our financial team, Mr. Orwell, and your entire financial team that's here before us today on the 2022 reporting Canadian Award for Finance Reporting. Congratulations very much. All the best. Yeah.
That way, further. To the right. To the right. To the right. To the right.
Get that out of the way now.
Smile like you just want. Oh, Warren.
Good thing you got a bigger office for wall space. Good luck. Good job, John. We need a separate wall just for John's props. This whole wall on one side. That's good.
All right, congratulations once again, Mr. Rowan, and your financial team. That's always great to see. On to item 7.3, request for processing policy ADM 2, proposed renewal. Mr. Tebow.
This policy is coming forward as our typical 3-year renewal. There was no adjustments, no significant adjustments made to this policy. So it's in front of council for your consideration.
All right. Fairly straightforward here. I think any other questions? All right, Councillor Sorensen?
I didn't have a question, so maybe Councillor McLean did.
Okay. You're just prepared to make the motion? Okay, sure. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a question on 2.3, what meant, within the time specified in section 9 of the corresponding procedure. Where's section 9? Or just a clarification of what that means exactly.
So the section 9 is in the procedure, whereas this is the policy. So
Oh, I
procedures
see.
don't typically
Oh, okay.
come to council.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Thank you.
All right, Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd be prepared to make a motion that council approves the request processing policy ADM-2 as presented.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.4, Community Emergency Management Plan. Mr. Tebow.
So the Community Emergency Management Plan was in front of the Emergency Management Committee. Mr. Munshaw had presented there, and he'll come up and provide any highlights or answer any questions for council.
All right, thank you, Chief Munshaw.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much for having me again. I love coming up about this time of year and talking about this. So what's in front of you is our SAMPR, Community Emergency Management Plan. It's a requirement of the Emergency Management Act to bring forward every year to review name changes, phone numbers, address, emails, make sure it conforms back to our community. Annually, it's in front of you to accept it as your new plan. And instead of having a great big docket in your package, then we put some links in there. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Greenpeace and Save Our Trees will be happy with the town of Tabor. So, all right, thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have 2 questions. On page 9, there's 3 little blue squares, and it goes from Town of Tabor Municipal Emergency Management Committee to the director, then down to Town of Tabor Emergency Management Agency. I'm just wondering what the difference between Town of Tabor Municipal Emergency Management Committee is and the Town of Tabor Emergency Management Agency is.
Actually, it is a boilerplate piece. What we have in the town of Tabor is actually all encompassed into one, the Emergency Management Committee. And so it's combined into one under that whole breakdown.
All right, thank you. Councillor McLean?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had one more question. In the letter that was sent along with this, it talked about Ames has an ICP focus that will be up and coming. And so I was just wondering what is different in that than what's in our plan that will streamline a response of what they're aiming for.
That is an absolute great question. We're still waiting to find out that docket at this time. They have informed us that the SEMP plan is being reviewed and is going to be changed, which they're referring to, and that is going to be the new plan yet to be released. So as soon as it is, Nick, this year we'll have the opportunity to review the plan, rebuild it up, make it what they're looking for next, and then come to you with the newest version.
All right, thank you. But overall, we're in good shape at this stage as well. Great, great. Thank you, Chief. Councillor Sorensen?
That was my question, so yeah, we were thinking a lot alike.
All right, great. Thank you. Any other questions arising? No. All right, Councillor Rufford? All right, very well. You bet.
I'll make a motion that council accepts the 2024 Community Emergency Management Plan.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 7.5, information for council. Mr. Tebow.
Sorry, just catching up. I was behind on the screen. So there's two information pieces in here, no motion required. There's the update for the face-off against hunger that happened a few weekends ago. So some updated numbers in there for council to see how that turned out. And our traffic committee meeting minutes. So if there was any questions around any of those, feel free.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising related to that information? All right, seeing none whatsoever. Moving on to item 7.6, department reports. I'll go through those individually. If you got any questions, please advise accordingly. First off, Recreation Department report. Economic Development report. Engineering and Public Works report. Treatment Facilities report. Planning Department report. Facility Management report. CAO Department report. Administrative Service report. Fire Department report. HR Department report. And Finance Department report. No questions whatsoever. All right. No motion required. Moving on to Mayor and Council reports. So as per Councilor Remford's request, I will do my report first. And if you so choose and glean anything from my report, feel free to do so. All right, for myself, as always, a variety of meetings required, and do you need to record this? Variety of meetings and document signing required. I did attend the Calera College invite related to the 2-day seminar for farming education and training at the Heritage Inn. It's a very well attended, very informed event as well. Did also, as has been said in the past, it reported in today's report. Attended and participated in the Tabor Titans hockey game and food bank fundraiser. Very well attended, and some around about $5,000 raised and 450 pounds of food donated as well, and went over very well. Looking for a second annual next year as well. I was invited to the Parkside Manor and attended the lunch invite there, as well as the Tabor Public Library AGM. I also attended the TCAPS fundraiser dinner event, and I attended the Bud Van Cleve 94th birthday celebration event at the Royal Hotel. That would be my report. So if we just carry on with Councilor Sorensen, please.
Thank you. It was directed by Councillor Remford of the order I'm supposed to go in, so I'll go by the mayor. I attended all of the meetings that I was supposed to attend. I do see a little bit of commentary here. I sit on the rec board and the Arts and Heritage board meeting. I do see value in the committees, and I do want to urge administration and council to use these committees for their knowledge and maybe give projects that they can work on, such as the Tank 77, maybe their investigation of the history, and maybe give some suggestions to the park, and also maybe the dry sports field to the rec group, as you know, there's a lot of members on those committees that have great ideas and a lot of history on working maybe with those projects. The Tabor Police Commission, we came up with the 3-year strategic planning session, which includes the session planning for the chief, which, you know, isn't going to happen soon, but it's always good to have a plan in place. Inclusion and diversity in the Tabor Police Service, and public engagement, which currently members are holding fraud and prevention seminars in the community. So if you're able to, please attend those. And that's my report.
All right, thank you. Councilor Remford, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended the meetings I was able to attend. I was at the Tabor Titans hunger thing, and I watched the mayor score a goal. It was nice to see. against the police department,
Yeah.
which was nice too, and the fire, right? Keep their budgets good. I'm going to the Tabor Minor Hockey Banquet. Their president is hosting it. I hear they have a really, really good president. I went to the Handy Bus AGM. I was very knowledgeable there. Like learned lots. I could not believe how much the Handy Bus is used. It's unreal. And last is the Tabor Pro Rodeo is April 26th, 27th. So, yeah.
All right, thank you, Councilor Renford. Councilor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's been a busy month thus far for me due to the fact I missed most of February. I attended the Emergency Management Committee meeting, Municipal Planning Committee meeting, Highway 3 Executive meeting, and I hope some of you have traveled east and you've seen that the work has started. Power poles are being moved and they're doing some work on some ditches. So it's time has finally hit us where it's going to be completed. So the push is on to go right through to Medicine Hat. So we can hope for that in the future. I also attended the Titans Food Bank tournament there. I watched the mayor get fed the puck so he could score. I went to the TCAPS fundraiser as well, which was very good, and some good money was raised there. That's my report.
All right, thank you. Councilor McLean.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, whoops. wrong
okay.
button. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was also able to attend the Tabor Titans hockey tournament, and my kids were able to participate in Singing O Canada for that, so that was really fun for them. I also attended other meetings that I was required, the MPC and a special MPC and the library AGM. And that's all
All
I
right,
have to
thank
report.
you. Councilor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Nothing new to report. I attended meetings I was required to do. I missed the Handy Bus AGM, but I know Council Renford was there, so he did a good job, I'm sure.
All right, thank you. Councilor Frith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended all the meetings that I was required to, as well as the Tabor Titans tournament, which, like, just echo what everybody else has said. It was great. Sounds like they raised lots of money and hope to see it happen again next year. And I also attended the TCAPS fundraiser as a volunteer.
All right, thank you. No questions arising for anybody? All right, no motions required. On to item 7.8, standing item, council requests. Mr. Thibault.
Okay, and we'll run through the listing. Resolution 294, so the Schedule D in the fines, is just awaiting the rest of the traffic committee review that was initiated from council. So that will be, it's ready to go, but it'll come back with the rest of the traffic committee review that we're, in bylaw review that administration is undertaking. We're a little further down the road on Resolution 363 for that sidewalk, so I believe we've now heard back from Shaw and TELUS, both of them saying there's no concern from their perspective, so we're just waiting on Fortis to hear what their perspective might be for that portion of sidewalk. So once we get that back, we'll report on that, and then I believe there's an RFD still outstanding from a while back that then administration can address, assuming that Fortis comes back and says that they're okay with it. Councillor Bruin's request for the traffic committee, we're calling that completed on this one because it shows up now in an RFD that Councillor Beckering had made for the review of the administration to look at the bylaw and the committee in other places. Still in progress on the sound system at the arena and the auditorium. I know we have one. I think we're still waiting on one or two more quotes for that. We do have a draft document of the utility bill explanation, and we'll be presenting that probably just via email to council a little bit later. The draft's done, just didn't have time to get it into this one. And still working on the survey process over in development for Councillor Firth. So I know that we had postponed due to weather the last coffee with council, so I wasn't anticipating a barrage of additions to the list, but over to council.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Just had a further question on the sound system update. We're waiting for 3 quotes, you say, all total? We have 1, we're waiting for 3?
We have one, and I think that there's, Brian can speak to it if he knew. Is there 2 more that you're waiting for?
Council. Yes, we're waiting on a couple more quotes. The site visit for the arena just happened this past Saturday. So the contractor that was looking at the sound system will be giving us the report back hopefully this week.
All right, expect the next, like the 3 quotes in RFD format for next meeting. Is that doable?
It will depend on how fast we get these quotes back, for sure, yes.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, right? All right. Yes, we do. Councillor Sorensen?
I don't have a question, but I have something I'd like to bring up.
Sure, you bet.
I was just wondering why there isn't a no parking sign on 50th, like on the hospital route, between 41st and 42nd Street. Because that's actually directly right across the street from the dental office. And that's where people are parking. And so I was just wondering if there's a reason for that or if that was just missed.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Mr. Tebow, any information on that?
I don't know the street well enough to know that there was or wasn't one there. So we'd have to take that away and figure out if there ever was, and if there isn't, then yeah, we can come back to council with that information.
I'd be prepared to make a motion.
Sure, you bet.
I'd like to make a motion that administration investigate the placement of no parking signs on 50th Street or 50th Avenue between 41st Street and 42nd Street.
Right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've had a few citizens of the town come to me and talk about almost suggest a pandemic happening in Tabor with the drug situation. There's been a few overdoses. You probably all saw the chief on TV and whatnot. I think it would almost be appropriate to have the chair of the police commission and perhaps even the chief come and give a presentation to council so that we as councillors can understand a little better what's being done about it and really what's happening in town. There's been some pretty bad batches of drugs going around, I guess, and I think by presenting it to council, the public may be more in tune to it then. Just thoughts from the rest of councillors, if they think that would be appropriate. I'd be very interested in hearing.
All right, any questions, comments? Councillor Beckert?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that's a brilliant idea. I think the police chief should be making the presentation.
All right, thank you. Yes, and he did do a very good overview, actually, of what's involved, but I'm sure there's more to it than that, for sure. So, did you have a motion in mind to undertake that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll make the motion that the Tabor Town Council invites the Tabor Police Chief to come and give us a presentation on the current drug situation in Tabor and what progress is being made or not made combating it.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Any other new standing item requests? Councillor Sorensen?
I just have a couple comments, if that's all right.
Sure.
Again, I've been asked about the MOU with the chamber, so I'm not sure if administration can update us on that.
All right, Mr. Tebow?
So the latest update that administration has is the lease agreement was with our lawyer, and that was going to be presented back to the chamber's lawyer. And as far as I know, it's still between lawyers. Administration made our comments based on the previous requests that the chamber lawyer had made. We updated the document and had asked for some council's direction on who might own the building and who might own the land, and so those updates all took place throughout that document and are waiting to hear back, I think, from the chamber lawyer is my understanding.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, they're just ready to hit the ground running with their building, so this is pretty important for them to receive, so I'll check back with that.
All right.
And then I just have a little bit of concern of our economic development area just because of the program and the success of the program. I just want to make sure that we're able to complete all requirements, even though maybe one person stepped back. So I just just a comment. It's a very important program for the community, and you know, we've showed some commitment with other communities to help them with this program, and I just want to make sure that council is giving as much support as we can, so administration can be successful with that.
Just to confirm, you're referring to the Alberta Advantage Immigration Program?
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tebow.
Yeah, I can provide a little update on that. So the interviews have happened. Selection has been made, and I believe that offer is yet to go out to that individual, but the replacement is been interviewed, and we think we have a candidate for that. And the two individuals that are in that area, they haven't actually fell behind on the applications, so they have been still vetting those applications and have stayed on top of them. So we haven't reduced a service level to any one of our partners at this point.
Thank you. And I'm not implying that. I'm just trying to give as much support as we can, so that it's very important for the community for that program.
Sure. Great. Thank you, Councilor Sorensen.
And I just have one more question.
Sure.
Someone asked me what the storm management fee and how is it calculated on the utility bills. So I'm not sure if someone can answer that, because I couldn't.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tebow.
I'm not sure which one is the storm management fee. Are we talking about the updated type of utility bill? You have an example? Good. I'll look at it. Okay, so that was pre-existing on bills for quite some time. At this very moment in time, I can't tell you how that's calculated, but if council would like, I know that we could figure out how that's calculated, but at this very moment, I don't think there's anyone in the room that could tell us how that's calculated without looking back at something.
I thought maybe Mr. Beckering. No, I'm just.
There you go. Good
Can
answer.
I just make a motion for that?
Sure, you can do.
I'd like to make a motion that administration come back with more information on how the storm water management fee is calculated on the utility bills, utility statements.
All right. Thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Any other standing item council requests? All right. With that, just ask for a motion to move into the meal break till our 5 o'clock delegations. All right, Councilor Becker, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, if we could reconvene the meeting again, please. On to item 8, delegations. Item 8.1, request for funding, Canadian Classic Rodeo Association. Mr. Tebow.
Looks like we have the delegation folks here. I remember seeing them last year for the same request. So I believe is it Lynn Turcado and Glennis. So come on up and turn on the microphone and.
All right, good evening. If you just activate the mic there, yep. Carrie will help you out there, actually. All right, good evening, welcome.
I'd like to thank you for this opportunity. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Lynn Turcado. I'm part of the committee called the South Country Senior Rodeo Association. And along with the Tabor Exhibition Association, we are putting on a CCRA rodeo. We've changed our name this year, our association has, to the Canadian Classic Rodeo Association. But our rodeo this year will be the same format. We've got 200 contestants coming to town for 3 days. And in them 3 days, they'll be coming uptown, touring around, going to restaurants and all that. You guys know all that. This year, we're trying to raise a little more money to try and get more prize money so that we can get more cowboys coming to town, which is only going to benefit the town and the surrounding area. The more people we can get to experience Tabor downtown businesses in the surrounding area, the better. Last year, we invited the special needs to come to our rodeo and the senior facilities. And we encouraged our contestants to sit with our guests and kind of just talk to them, and if there's any questions to be asked and stuff like that, it kind of gives them a little more of an experience. And with no admission, it's good for everybody, right? I know my dad's, one time he said, you know, somebody sat down with me that I never even knew, and he told me about that. And as a senior or as somebody with disability, that's a huge difference. So if we can do that for our community, it's only going to enhance the rest of our rodeo and the rest of our event. This year we plan on building even more onto that aspect, trying to get more of our contestants to take part in the experience of sitting down with the elderly and sitting down with the people with special needs. Oh, another thing that we actually do that was a highlight of our rodeo is we had an egg toss. And we have sitting with us past champion of the egg toss, Andy Prokop. He won the egg toss last year.
I had a good partner, too. That was key.
To close, I think I'd just like to say we'd like to partner with you again and see if we can make this even better for this year and years to come. This is our 3rd annual, so thank you very much.
All right, thank you for your presentation. Any questions arising? Councillor Beckering.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, to Lynn and Glennis, this is the 3rd annual, I know, because the first year we gave you $5,000. And I think we described that as being seed money to get this thing going, correct?
Yes.
Last year, we gave you $3,000 because now you're operating. And this year, you're requesting $2,000, so that's a little less than $3,000, of course. But your financials, how are they sitting? How are you guys doing financially?
We're doing all right. We try and keep a cushion so that we can start on next year and pay some bills for next year and get things rolling. But financially, we're okay. We're not rolling in it by any means, but nonprofit, we can keep rolling with a little bit of a cushion to where we can make it work for next year.
We haven't had to put in our own money to do, like, as committee members. We've been able to float with it, but we are really at the bottom of it right now.
But I think, too, you all know that things are going up. Our stock prices go up because cattle prices have gone skyrocketed, right? So our stock that we need to have at our rodeos has gone up quite a bit. So I mean, there's struggles, but everybody's got struggles, and we appreciate whatever you can give us.
Just to follow up, Mr. Mayor.
Sure, you
if
bet.
I may. Yeah, you said, Lynn, you're expecting 200 contestants to participate for 3 days, right?
Yes.
which is.
Well, 2 days, but they'll probably come Friday.
Right.
For Saturday and Sunday.
So my question would be, can you give any indication, how many would you staying in a hotel as opposed to living in the horse trailer?
There's not many staying in the hotel, but I bet you there's probably only 10 rooms booked for the hotel. Because most people are out at the Agriplex, you know, but they'll be coming up to town to get their goods or going to groceries or going to restaurants or going to local, you know, lounges or whatever. But yeah, they're mostly out at the Agriplex.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councillor Bruin?
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just like to say how happy I am to see you old timers come out and do this presentation. Every year you still hobble in here and carry on with this. I think it's a fantastic event you guys put on. I've attended first year. I wasn't able to make it last year, but there's so many people there. And just the camaraderie of everyone there, the Cowboys talking to everyone, and I really enjoyed it. So really looking forward to your event again this year. Hopefully I can make it. As Councillor Beckering was saying, you had 5,000 the first year. We lowered you to 3,000 last year, and you're only asking 2,000 this year. I'm prepared to offer you guys 3,000 in a motion for this year to keep it the same as it was, because the amount of people you bring into this town almost rivals Cornstalk. Almost. But I think you guys do so much work with this and with the disabled people, the handicapped people being able to interact, and I think it's fantastic. So I would be.
Yes, Glynis, you go ahead.
What Lynn hadn't said was the success of inviting the seniors to our event last year. They were super excited about it. We started our event at noon, and they were really kind of miffed about the noon hour because that's when they get their meals and their pills. So they weren't able to get in until 1 o'clock, and then all of a sudden we had this barrage of walkers coming down the front. And it was all silver, all these walkers. It was crazy how many. I don't know, were you there that
I was, yeah.
And I wish we would have got a picture of that, but we want to build upon that especially. And we had even talked about taking some horses over to the senior centers in between, and I'm not sure legally how we would do that, but it's something we really want to build on, and I think that's important to look at our seniors, and it's pretty cool that a senior's doing it for seniors. But it was a big deal. It was pretty cool.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen?
Thank you, Mary. And I just wanted to reiterate how great this whole event is rolling and undertaking in your third year. I want to congratulate you on that. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to almost all animals, so I can't attend. But yeah, I would just wanted to support the event, and I just wanted to congratulate you on that.
Sure, thank you. And I can also reiterate that I attended the last couple of years as well, and very well put on event, a lot of fun had by all. Highly competitive as well, but everybody's having fun with it, right? So it's very well done and very well received, and it's a great event to be part of. So thank you for that as well. Councillor Bruin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With that, I'd like to make a motion that Council directs administration to fund the 2024 Canadian Classic Rodeo Association request in the amount of $3,000 from the council discretionary fund.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? Councillor Beckering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas I compliment Councillor Bruin on his sentiment regarding the $3,000, I'm not able to support that. I do not believe we should be supporting an association that requests $2,000 and give them more than that, because I think these people can use the money that we're going to give them, $2,000, in a proper way, and that's it. So I would not be in favor of this particular motion, and I would like to ask Councillor Bruin for an amendment to the motion friendly, if you could.
No, I'm not going to accept your
Okay,
amendment.
that's fine.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen?
I forgot a point that I was going to make. With the chamber and the Bolorama, they did say that to get people to attend, or actually the people who participate in the event, you have to increase the prize money too. So I can appreciate that you have that in there too. So to attract actually people to participate is very important. And so maybe they do need the extra $1,000 to boost up the prize money. I'm not sure. Maybe you can answer that.
The first year when we did it, I don't know if you probably weren't here. I remember talking to Garth, but we were talking about COVID. And at that time we had a lot of barriers to COVID, and it was kind of had to have masks on. There was lots of rules to hosting an event, and we thought, well, we're gonna go with it, but if people come in not wearing masks, they're asked to leave, and if they don't like our rules, sorry, but don't enter. So anyways, that was our first year starting, and with our association, we even didn't offer prize money, added money, and so we started with the 5,000 that year, and the MD also contributed money to that. And that was washed up pretty quickly because it was just a starting. And then last year when we got cut back a little bit, which we understood, we really did notice it. And now we are getting to the point that we want to start adding the money, the added money to the prize money. And so that's why it's costing us more. Everything's costing us more.
All right, thank you. Once again, we do have a motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
You guys need help? Are you all right?
I'll race you. To recruit younger people like me to.
That's good. That's really appreciate you looking after them.
All right, thank you. Item 8.2, request for waiver, facility waiver, Tabor Community Action and Prevention Society. Mr. Tebow?
I see that Mr. Ken Holst is here. You can come on up to the front and pick a microphone.
Yes. Ken, welcome.
How are you, Council? Thank you for allowing me to be here today. Good to see you. As per your RFD, I'm sure you've had a look at that. I just wanted to add a couple more things to it. So many of you attended the TCAPS event this year, and we appreciate your participation and for you being there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out scheduling-wise with council and with some of the forms we filled out for us to be here prior to the event to request this. But still in the same event, the bill is still outstanding. So as many of you know, TCAPS every year, TCAPS has been in existence for over 30 years now, and over at least the last 15 years, they've held an annual fundraising event. Over the last 6, it's been a steak and shrimp event, which we held again this year. The event is a fundraising event for the Crisis Fund, and then we also partner with one other charity organization in town that we have now an application process where people can put in an application. We then sort through those, find a suitable partner for that, where we split the proceeds from the fundraiser 50-50 with that group. 50% going to the Crisis Fund and 50% to the group that we have. This year, we had the girls rugby team. As you know, we're trying to go to New Zealand. And of course, the Crisis Fund has been in crisis much of the year, just because it's having a huge pull through the Tabor Victim Service Unit, and so many things that are needing to help people out that are in crisis. So it was much needed money for both of those things. We used to, at one time, there was a little bit of confusion as well on our part, on our administration part, where there used to be at one time a standing request for the grant that is available, the community grant application form. Unfortunately, there was some misunderstanding in nonprofits like this, with different directors coming in and out in different assignments. Sometimes some of these things get lost from person to person. We should have had that grant application in. We missed the deadline for that this year. We know that that was the proper place. We thought, again, we were going back in time, and that there was a standing order, which I think over 3 years ago that stopped. So we missed that. So that's why we're here today, sort of in a reactive state as opposed to a proactive state, and asking for a waiver of the facility rental that we had for this fundraiser. There was 2 invoices. I don't know which ones, if both of them made their two. The original one was for $1,068, and then we had to extend the gray room for our volunteers that we had. The rugby team came in with a large amount of volunteers. We had to organize them, so we extended the gray room booking, and that was another $225. So it's a total of $1,293 is the outstanding invoice for those rentals.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? All right, thank you. Councilor Firth?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not a question, but just prepared to make a motion, and I just wanted to thank you and the whole TCAPS organization for all that you do for our community.
Appreciate it.
It's an important, and I'm glad that these fundraisers continue to go ahead, and I'd be prepared to make a motion.
All right, very well.
Okay. Let me find alternate, yeah. Like which one? Number one. Here we go. I move the council could approve or approves the facility waiver request from the Tabor Community Action and Prevention Society in the amount of $1,293 for the community center event in March 2024 from the 2024 council discretionary fund.
All right, thank you. Councillor Sorensen, any questions? Okay, thank you. And also, Ken, just want to congratulate you. Event very well done, very well received, and a lot of fun had by all.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you
So
for your
you're
attendance.
very welcome. Once again, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously.
Thank you. Just wanted to add, we're so grateful as well for Mr. Tebow, who's attending our TCAPS meetings on a regular basis and adds so much for many of the things that we're trying to do. We bring so many different services, and we're trying to add more and more government and public and municipal services to it so that we can prevent overlap, and save money that way and provide the gaps. And Mr. Tebow has been a great add to that. So appreciate him being there as well. Thank you, Council.
Thank you. All right, moving on to items 8.3, request for funding support, Tabor Gymnastic Parents Association. Mr. Tebow.
I believe it's Jamie, is that? Okay, April, come on up and give us a presentation, please.
All right.
Hi,
Good evening, April. Welcome.
Some friendly faces, which is nice to see. I've never done this before, so bear with me. My name is April Holchek, and I have coached with the Tabor Gymnastics Club for almost 11 years now, and 8 of that being rec classes. However, myself and another coach took over the competitive program about 3 years ago now. And our competitive program is growing quite a bit, actually, which is why we're here today. So just so that you're aware of the Parents Association, so the Tabor Gymnastics Competitive Parent Association started their own board so that they can do their own fundraising and stuff like that for their girls to enter competitions, to pay for fees, travel, all of that sort of stuff. So that's who is actually here to present this to you. So I'm going to read what she gave to me. If you have any questions, I look forward to them at the end. At TGFC, we have 22 athletes, 12 at level bronze, which is the entry level, 10 in level silver, and only 2 in gold. We have found at TGFC that very rarely do these athletes stay in gymnastics past gold because one of the largest contributing factors is the cost. At a gold level, you are training 9 hours a week and through the summer. Training alone is a huge cost. On top of the cost of training, there is the cost of each competition as well. Training, they range anywhere from $200 to $500 for each competition. This year, our team is competing in 7 of them, which is the most that we've ever done. The most we've done is 5, so we've upped it this year. We estimate the cost for each girl to attend all the competitions will be $2,000 each, not including hotels, gas, food, etc., except for the 2 that we do not have to travel for. All of the members of the board have girls that absolutely love gymnastics, and they started this association hoping to find a way to not only keep our girls competing, but to find a way to help families afford it. Hopefully, growing our gym and making gymnastics a strong sport in Tabor is our goal. Our goal is to cover the cost for competition fees, and each athlete is still in charge of covering their training fees. Down the road, we would love to be able to cover the cost of the competition Leos, as girls grow fast and hand-me-down Leos can't always be found. These range from $150 to $300 per Leo. Some of our fundraisers that we have done, we've offered a barbecue in the park on Canada Day. We've sold cakes at Co-op, and we've recently just joined Three Sisters Market and hosted Galentine's event last month in February, which was a huge success. We have applied for some grants that we're hoping to receive in September or October of 2024 for the next season. The real reason why we're here is we're actually hosting our very first competition in Tabor this year, next month. There is a lot of work and expenses that go into hosting a competition. Our goal is to just break even this year, hoping to grow in the years to come. Being able to use this as a fundraiser as well, we will keep including the previous ones we've done. Expenses include renting equipment, insurance, paying judges and coaches. Each athlete receives a host bag. They get a Leo and some fun stuff throughout Tabor. Medals, coaches, judges room, and a few odds and ends. The grand total coming in at $27,800. We have 187 athletes registered, and from their entrance fees, we will only make $21,250, a difference of $6,550. We will be charging an entrance fee, selling roses, and also have a 50-50, hoping to come closer to making up that difference. We don't think that we'll be able to fully achieve that just yet. I believe that this event is going to be amazing for our town. We actually have 9 teams attending, team from BC, and the farthest one is Wainwright. 187 is actually not a lot of athletes. The competition that we're attending in Okotoks has almost 1,200 athletes, and the competition in Canmore has just under 900 athletes. Bringing thousands to our amazing town, we would really love to make this an annual thing. In order to do that, we need to knock off their socks for the first competition, leaving them wanting to come back and to spread to the other gyms how great of an experience they had here at Tabor. Of course, we would be happy with any sort of contribution you are willing to make, but our ask is for $2,000. We appreciate your time in considering our proposal.
All right. Thank you so much for your presentation. Any questions arising? Councillor Sorensen.
Hi, and you did a great presentation.
Thank you.
I know how hard it would be. So I was just wondering where you're going to hold the competition.
At the
'cause-
Civic, or
at
at
the
the
Civic?
hockey arena.
At the
rented
hockey
that out,
arena?
yeah.
So have you already gotten a waiver to waive the fees for that rental?
I think that they had a way of doing that. I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest with you, but they didn't specify if they did, so I'm not sure about that one. But it's just 2 days. It'll be Friday, Saturday. We don't do Sundays. So it's a 2-day thing. It'll be 8, right at 8:30, right till they could go to 6, depending on the schedules of the girls that are in it.
Does administration know if we're waiving the fees or?
I'd have to check into that. I don't know. I don't know if that's already happened or not. If the request went through the community grant program, I don't have those
I couldn't
details.
answer that. That's a decent question, though. I can look into that, but.
So we did do a waiver for the arena for a different event, and that was just under $300 for that waiver. But I'm not sure. I have no idea how long that this plans on happening. So I don't know what that waiver amount would be, but yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Just a question, does anybody remember from the rec board at all, as far as that coming up on the?
Well, I am.
Okay.
I am, and
Yeah.
you would have received it because it's in September that we have our annual.
Yeah, I can't say,
meeting for that.
I remember seeing the list, but I don't remember that being on there for
No.
sure.
I just was wondering if it's outside of that, because that's something that we could do potentially. As a counselor, like, there's a lot of sporting events for all of our children,
understand
and
that.
it would be hard for us to contribute this particular ask, just because then, it could open up for a lot of other events that come to town. So for me, just because of the ask for medals, I wouldn't be able to support this. I'm sorry.
Councillor Bruin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate what Councillor Sorensen's saying. With the arena, ice arena, I would think it'd probably be more like $500 a day or so for the ice rental. A hockey game, Dan says, is about 300.
Yeah, that's with ice.
Non-ice may be different. I think at the very least we can waive that, or I'd suggest or recommend to waive that, and perhaps a little extra cash on top of that, because you're bringing in how many people to the town? Do you think?
187 athletes, so there's families that will be with that.
And they'll be staying in hotels.
Yes.
And
It'll be very good for
they're
Tabor.
going to really contribute to the town. So
And if we can do it annually, absolutely, we're hoping to grow every year.
I'd be in favor of waiving the ice fee rentals and $1,000 cash. Is what I would like to recommend. And if I may, I'd make a motion to that effect.
I'm just trying to clarify, I guess, are we able to do that without having the actual figure?
Whatever it is.
$1,000, but I mean,
Yeah, the waiver, we would probably, administration would be more comfortable going through a special application process and bringing that maybe back at a different time to understand, is it just the rink, is it the rink in the lounge, is it, what all is it, to get a proper number. So you could just say a waiver in the a waiver, but without the number, we don't know what we're reducing from the, we don't know the financial implication, I guess. at this
Councilor Broome
point.
did
So-
have a
and-
number plus the waiver.
Yeah,
for the 2 days.
I was guessing 500 a day, but if it's 600 or 700 a day, I'd still say we should waive it for this event because of all the athletes that are coming into town. And if it's not being used for someone else, we might as well see it used for a good purpose like this. So could we? I'd like to have administration come back with some more information on this so that we could determine what we can waive for you.
Absolutely.
You have my support.
Thanks, Jack.
So just currently, you're talking about just, you would like to withdraw your motion currently? Well, you did, actually.
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
No.
Did I not hear a motion out of that?
No motion.
You're
So
just
I'd
on-
like to make a motion.
Oh,
but I
okay.
didn't get to the point of making a motion.
Okay.
But I would suggest then that council directs administration to find some further information of the cost of the request to waive the ice fees or the rink fees. It's going to be dry, but come back to council with that amount and see what we can do after that.
All right, just to clarify, that also includes, because you're in need of the arena.
Well, we don't know yet, so.
No, but it's for the usage, it's not just the ice surface area, right?
Yeah, it's the,
The
we're gonna have
arena.
our equipment set up on the actual, like where the rink would be, yeah.
But you'll need the lounge area.
Yeah, we
The
would need a
staging
lounge
area
area, staging area. We're gonna have like, we're selling 50/50, we're selling roses. We would need a gray room or a green room for a judges and coaches room because they get their own space from the athletes throughout the day.
So,
But it's
just
just
trying to
one room
clarify.
extra that we would need, that's it.
You'll have the cafeteria there to serve you guys. So.
Nope, that's okay. We have other arrangements that we're hoping to get a couple food trucks to come down, as well as Three Sisters Market might put some stuff together as well.
Okay, well, I think if you could give some more information to our staff.
Okay.
So that we know your exact acts.
Okay.
That would be very helpful.
Absolutely. You
All
betcha.
right, thank you, Councilor Sorensen.
Yeah, and that was my kind of direction in doing that, is just to suggest you come back with a request for what you'd like specifically.
sure. I
And
understand
that's
that.
what we can kind of waive for you guys, so.
That's
Come
fair.
back.
Absolutely. I'll let the president know. I was just last minute a couple days ago because she wasn't back in
Okay,
time.
no,
So
Threw you under the
I
bus.
was the next best thing because I've been there the longest and I love the sport. And I honestly think it would be fantastic for Tabor if we can grow every year. Gymnastics is a competitive program and our program is growing. So we would love to bring it to Tabor and share it with other athletes and show them how great Tabor is.
All right, so just some form of email, letter would be fine in that regard. Mr. Tebow, correct?
Well, there's a motion on the floor, and so council votes
Yeah, I
on
just want to
that,
make sure
and
that this is covered, though. Does it
Yeah.
cover the whole facility?
Asking
So-
what you're asking will get
Yeah.
us to prompt a special
Right.
events application, and then we can figure out what that number is and come back with that.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried now, Mr. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to item 9, meeting inquiries. Any meeting inquiries whatsoever?
No, sir, there's none.
All right, thank you. Then with that, just ask for a motion to close the meeting. Councilor Brecken, motion on the table. All in favor? Carried now, Mr. Great. Thank you.